Well, whether we like it or not, hurricane season is here, and we don't like to remember how storms in the past have affected our area. Back in 2008, Hurricane Ike made landfall in Galveston, ranked as a Category 2 storm. Maximum wind speeds were 110 miles per hour. Ike was responsible for $29.5 million in damage, making it the third costliest national disaster in U.S. history. The Bolivar Peninsula experienced a 20-foot storm surge, while the Galveston area had 10 to 15-foot storm surge. Now, the storm changed both areas forever. In a span of a few hours, communities that had stood for almost 100 years on the Bolivar Peninsula were nearly wiped off the map. In southeast Texas, storm surge came far enough inland to contaminate Beaumont's water supply. Bridge City was completely flooded, and water breached the Orange Levee, causing a third of the area to be underwater. Now, Entergy Texas is prepared should we see another storm in the area. Debbi Derrick is here with the details, and of course, it's something that we all should be concerned with. We don't want to think about it, but we kind of have to.
We do have to. You know, this is the 10th anniversary now since Hurricane Rita. Who can forget that?
Right? I can't imagine.
Doesn't seem
10
like
years.
it.
It doesn't.
To think for a second.
It doesn't.
To believe that. And it's been, what then, 8 years now since Ike?
Ike. Wow, it has been that
Correct.
long. Chrissy, we're getting older.
Shut up, Carrie.
Carrie, I go back to Hurricane Audrey. I've been in this area that long. So you've got a long ways to go to catch up.
But how are you guys prepared? What lessons did you guys learn? I'll say from Rita, but maybe even especially from Ike.
From every storm. It doesn't matter what takes place, whether you're talking about an ice storm, a hurricane, or the other kinds of emergencies that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Every one becomes a learning point, a touchstone for things that you can apply later down the road. One of the things that we have done since Hurricane Rita is to develop a very robust program of trying to educate the public and to help them be ready. Yes, we do prepare. We have drills, needless to say.
Right.
And we drill and we drill and we drill different scenarios and we drill emergencies within the drill so that we can be prepared whatever may happen. What we want is for you and for our other customers to be ready themselves. Do you have a plan? This is what we ask people. Do you have a plan? Do you know what you need to have on hand? What's in a first aid kit? And so we do have items related to that. We can help people get ready through our Operation Storm Ready program that's available on our website.
Now, that program just basically gives you an outline of what items you need to have at home, things you might need to do at your house?
Our Operation Storm Ready goes through everything a person might need to know, not just for a hurricane, but we can help you get ready for just plain thunderstorms, tornadoes, ice storms. We have lists of things that you would need in your home. We have phone numbers in this. We have right down to having the Zaffer Simpson. Am I saying that right?
Zaffer Simpson.
Zaffer
Yes,
Simpson. Okay. We even have examples of that so that people can see what it means and what different tornado levels mean as well. And so people can go to our EnergyStormCenter.com and they can find a wealth of information that will help them get ready.
Now, besides, you guys, conduct all these drills and whatnot to try and prepare. I mean, is there anything that you guys do as far as staffing? Because I know when a storm comes through, there's a lot of lines down, a lot of poles down. It's got to exhaust the local personnel for Entergy here. You've got to be calling people from outside of the area.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, in Hurricane Ike, we had utility operations people and personnel in from all 50 states and Canada. Thousands, we're talking thousands of people. And that's when we will set up staging areas, sometimes with tents. We'll have 18-wheelers that serve as the shower and toilet area, besides tents for feeding. And it truly becomes a massive mobilization in order to restore power as quickly as possible. And I think that that's probably one area in which we have seen a great deal of improvement. Since Rita, we have really amped up our ability to pull together an army as needed in order to restore power, to have boots on the ground, so to speak, as soon as they can begin safely working.
Now, do you have people, as the season begins, on standby should you need them, or is that just something you guys just call on as you do need them.
We call on folks as we need them, but this is through emergency assistance packs and deals that we have made with other utilities. And we do the same thing. It was Entergy people that went out to the northeastern area and we helped restore after Hurricane Sandy. We sent our crews there. There's no utility that could have enough people on hand to restore power after the kind of crises that weather can throw at us. And so you have to have these agreements with each other, these mutual assistance agreements with each other. So we may go to New York and restore power there, but then New York may be coming here to restore power this summer. We hope not.
Yeah, we hope not, for sure.
Correct.
Well, and now as far as, I know a lot of questions that I hear on the street, I mean, we're gonna play worst case scenario here, but we're gonna hope not.
Yes.
I mean, should a storm come into the area as people decide to evacuate? I know a question that I get asked a lot, do I turn my power off? Do I flip the breakers? Do I leave it on? What do I do?
It's better to turn the breakers off. It's better to turn it off because what can happen is that when power is restored, there can be enough of a power surge to damage appliances or other items in the home that are electrical. So it's really better when you evacuate to go ahead and turn your power off.
Now, is there anything people can do at their home as far as to prevent maybe losing some poles or lines, before a storm were to come in?
As far as losing poles or lines, there's really no way to predict what a storm is going to bring. There's no way to predict whether that tree in your front yard is going to fall on your line, what the winds are going to be at that particular place, because you can have high winds like Hurricane Rita where we saw trees all over the place.
Oh, yes.
But then there can also be gusts where your neighbor's fine and you're not. The best thing to do is to keep safety in mind at all times, to make sure that you've removed objects that can become projectiles, because you can at least protect your windows.
Sure.
If you can't bolster up a tree to keep it from falling. There are things, common sense things, frankly, that you can do to preserve as much of your property as possible.
Like, would checking limbs around lines be one of those things?
Well, that's one
be a good
thing.
idea?
Yeah, that's one thing that we need to be conscious about. Are the trees in your yard that you're responsible for that may have become rotten, have rotten trees. Please don't trim any tree limbs from around the power lines.
Yeah.
Save that for the pros.
Yeah, no
because
kidding.
that's where we get into some really serious issues, which leads us to something else. After a storm, during a storm, whatever the situation is, even if it's just one of our little summer thunderstorms here, if there are power lines that are down, don't ever think it's dead.
Right.
Treat every power line as though it's live and report it to 1-800-ENTERGY.
That's no matter the case. Now, you guys have several, you guys have an app now. You've got a website that people can go to get more information on preparing for a storm.
That's right. Primarily for preparation purposes, ENTERGYStormCenter.com, but they can also just go to ENTERGYTexas.com and they can find information about text messaging. For example, we can send you a text message to let you know when your power is out and let you know when it's back on, which can be very helpful to someone who's perhaps had to evacuate.
Right.
They may find out that their house didn't lose power. You never know.
Yeah. And then come back, and of course they can follow you guys on Twitter and Facebook.
That's
and
right.
all those things as well.
We've got the social media, and when we gear up for an emergency or a storm, that becomes a very important part of what we do, and we have people who manage it and make sure that our messaging is up to date.
Okay, well, hopefully you won't have to put any of that in place this
We
season.
wouldn't want that now anyway, because as much rain as we've had, the winds, even lesser winds now, is going to take down a tree because they're so wet and rotten at the bottom.
That's
So
correct.
we don't
we
want
don't
a storm
want one.
anytime soon.
No,
Period.
at all, period.
Right.
Yeah.